So when I was a little girl, and I imagined being on stage with a microphone, this isn't what I imagined at all. But here I am, nonetheless, wanting to talk to you today about how to grow your team your way. Now, in this room, we've got an awful lot of people from different levels within their business. So you may be a one-man band, you may have a small team, you may have a large team. So I've tried to tailor it so it caters for all of you. But please, if you have got any questions towards the end of the session, well, on our Q&A, please do let me know, or come and visit us on the stand. So just a little bit about me. That's me, same top. I thought I'd match, just to make sure that you've got it there. So I started life very much just falling into HR. HR wasn't a thing when I started. It was known as personnel. Anybody in the room remember personnel? And it was part of a broader role that I had on at the company at the time, and it was very reactive rather than proactive. So during that tenure, I was with the company for quite some time, and we really flipped the narrative on the HR and made it very proactive and put it at the heart of the organisation, which had, untold benefits. So I hate to mention that it's 25 plus years experience. Maybe I should wind that figure down a little bit. TIC HR itself was established in 2018 when I took voluntary redundancy from the place where I was at. So we're coming up to 7 years, and my goodness, what a ride that's been. We're now a team of 4. I'm very lucky that my co-founder, Mark, is here today, manning the stand and taking some pictures along the way. And then we have 2 other HR advisors. We're passionate, absolutely passionate about making sure that small businesses have the same access to good quality HR, and not just those larger organisations that do have their own in-house HR. So today, as HR generalists, we always talk about the employee life cycle. And we're going to keep it just to the first 3 areas for my talk today. So we're going to look at the attraction and how to attract the best candidates into your organisation. And we're going to look at recruitment and how you get those right people in the right roles. And then we're going to look at induction, or onboarding as it's now more commonly referred to. More specifically, we're going to talk about why to recruit in the first place. We're going to define what that recruitment need is. Worker contract type and considerations. I noticed we had some types on other people's slides this morning, which is fantastic. Attracting the right people, the recruitment process itself, preparation for interview selection, and then the induction onboarding. So why recruit? So there are many reasons why we recruit. We could say that, oh, we're massively busy, I can't do it all, I need somebody to come and do it. But actually, what does this recruitment mean to you as a business? What are you recruiting for? So new skills and perspectives. Get it down on paper, draw out what it is that you think you need within your organisation and why you think you need it. Is it just a case of scaling up? Is it just a case of growing your existing teams? Or is it taking that first step into employing somebody for the first time? And honestly, they are blooming terrifying. Even us as an HR organisation were quite nervous for taking on our first employee, but it had to be done. So scalability, obviously scaling your business, again, looking at what skills can add to your business. And if you get the right people in the right roles with skills that you don't already have, as Michelle said, don't recruit people in your image, recruit somebody that's bigger, better and sexier, I think you said. I'm all for that. They bring a wide variety of skills that you probably don't have or you don't utilise, but that's more their strong point. So it's really good to do that. And what that'll do is that'll give you a competitive edge within your business. If you've got the right skills in the right areas and you've got everybody feeling comfortable in their roles, they're really going to add value to your business. So as it says there, the benefits highlight the strategic importance of hiring and how it contributes to the overall success of the growth of a business. So defining that recruitment need, as I said, get your pen and notepad out, assess your current workload, what's going on, what can be streamlined, what can be automated, and then see where you are, see what you need. Identify skill gaps, as I've already mentioned, and put that in plan with the growth plans that you have as your organisation. Job descriptions is also a very important and key part of this to ensure that you have got those right skills coming into your organisation. You may just go online, Google, oh, I want an HR admin assistant. You get a job description, that'll do, I'll put it out. But actually, is that what your company needs? And again, it's just working out and being thoughtful about what skills you need to get your business to that next growth stage. The role objectives, what's the point of the role, and tie that into the job descriptions. And then Sam will be really pleased to see that I've said to set a budget. If you are going to scale up and you are going to employ people, it's not just the salary cost. You've got to bear in mind that there's all the national insurance, the employer cost, the pension costs. If you have somebody within a workspace, then you've got a work area that also carries a cost. So it's working all of those figures back and not just the salary cost. So it's really good to be mindful about that. The detailed preparation process ensures that your recruitment efforts are strategic, targeted, and effective in attracting the right candidates for your business needs. So here's a thing that we get to talk about quite a bit in our normal day-to-day life. So our clients will come to us and say, right, we need an employee and we need them to do X, Y, and Z. And I'll say, right, okay, so what do you need? A worker type? Do you need an employee? Or would a casual worker? Are you seasonal as a business? Do you just need somebody for 6 months? These are all sorts of considerations that you need to take on board when you're looking at it. Apprenticeships, we're a massive advocate for apprenticeships, really supporting more often than not younger generation. There are some people doing older apprenticeships these days as well, but it's just looking at that and how much they're learning, they're on that trajectory, and what skills and knowledge they can bring into your business. You might just need some very short-term help, and it might be that somebody's self-employed or a freelancer in their chosen field. So say, for example, you're doing really well, you need some marketing. Where would you go? I'm sure Emma would be more than happy to help out. But it's thinking about that and thinking about what you can outsource as opposed to bringing in, and weigh up those budgets, what's more cost-effective and more timely for your business. I've also mentioned interns and trainees. They're great to come into your business, and some young people are just absolutely amazing these days of the ideas that they come up with. It's talking like an old person, need to stop doing that. But it's really, really, really good to get some fresh eyes on things that you've been doing day in, day out for years. So contract types as well. It's not just a permanent fixed-term employee. It's not just a permanent employee. There are times where you could just do a fixed term contract, so over a period of time. There's a temporary contract where you can bring them in temporarily and let that continue and see how it goes, and then that may in turn become a permanent contract in the end. Back to self-employed, I would always recommend that if you are freelancing services into your business, make sure that you get a contract for services in place as well, and that's protection for you as a business and also for them as well to understand how that works and the liabilities involved. Now, I'm going to mention 0-hour contract. I know that there's a really negative stigma within the business world and often in the media about whether they're useful or not. If they're managed well and they work really well, so for example, we have a farm shop as a client, and they have very seasonal and they don't often have guaranteed hours. But equally, they've got some people where they're just, well, I'm not really bothered about working this week, so that's fine. So a 0-hour contract can really, really work well for your business if you want that flexibility. So understanding the types, both the work type and the contract type, is essential to ensure compliance with UK employment laws, clarify rights and responsibilities within the workplace. So, done all that, right? We know what we need now. How do you find those people? Where are you going to find them? Do you just sort of turn up and shout loudly into the ether and hope somebody's going to turn up? So you need to develop a strong employer brand. Now, I recognise that's quite difficult when you are just a solo entrepreneur, but still you have that personal brand that is part of your business as that. And so the employer brand it's not about the logo, it's not about what it looks like on the marketing side, but it's very much about what is good about working for your organisation. To understand your EVP or employee value proposition, to know what other people who do work in your business, what they think is good about working in your business, and brag about it, talk about it, get them to talk about it. There's nothing better recommendation referral from people that were absolutely loving working for you already. This might seem like an obvious one, but offer competitive salaries and benefits. Again, you would need to budget for what that looks like. And quite often in this day and age, the salaries, yes, massively important, but it's the benefits, it's the culture, it's everything that goes on around that for working for your business. And those are the things that you need to look at, understand what they are, and shout about them. That's, again, referring back to the creating a positive work culture as part of that. Provide opportunity as well. Even as a small business, it's quite easy to provide opportunities, development opportunities for people to get out and about. You can send them out networking, you can send them on, there's lots of courses, there's, FSB put on brilliant online events. And if you turn up to one thing and you listen to it and you take one thing away, then it's absolutely been worth it. So it's encouraging those opportunities and encouraging the growth. So creating a positive work environment for your employee and understanding what is good about working for your company while attracting that top talent. Right, we've done all that. We've got a great culture. It's absolutely amazing. We are a really forward-thinking looking company, and why would you not want to come work for us? So you're out there, you're explaining all of this, but where do you find your ideal candidates? Where are they? And it should be easier than it is, and it just isn't. But there's lots of different routes to market. So social media is a big one. Facebook has job pages. It also has the local community pages where local businesses often say, oh, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. Or you often see people say, oh, my little Annie's looking for a job and she's looking for something in the HR forum or the marketing forum, etc. So they're quite worth, if you've got the time to have a look at. Indeed is a free job board, and it's very well used, very well known, and used a lot. It has its downsides, and you can have an option of paying, which also give you more candidates coming through. Other job boards like Total Jobs, Monster, they're also available, and they can be at a fraction of the cost of, say, using a recruitment agency. What I would say about a recruitment agency is that if you're looking for specifics and you're looking for someone with a particular set of skills, and it's not Liam Nielsen, the recruitment agency is a really, really good one to have. And referrals, take referrals from people that you know in business. If you do have employees already, then, tap into them, see if there's anybody they know in the same space that would be interested in working for your organisation. So understanding where your ideal candidates are, looking for their next opportunity is key. It's understanding where they are. And if it's industry specific, there may be industry publications and things like that you can tap into to help you along that journey. So preparing for the interview and selection, I've seen so many times where managers have been very busy, they've got a candidate coming in, they've not even read the CV, let alone prepared any questions or worked out what it is that they actually want from the interview process. And it's quite key to be structured, be organised, and be ready for that candidate, because not only are you assessing them, they're assessing you to know whether they actually want to come into your organisation. And if you come in and you're all flappy because you haven't prepared, your phone's pinging and you're easily distracted, candidate's just going to say, no, this isn't for me. So that's key to get really organised. Review your applications and set evaluation criteria. More and more, we're looking at people with tribunal claims, looking at discrimination and things like that. If you've got a set evaluation criteria that you apply to everyone, then you will mitigate any risk of that coming back, because you will be able to prove that it's been a fair selection process. So communicate with the candidates, keep it timely. So in this day and age, fast, you've got everything available in your hand with your phone and whatnot. It's very, very important to set timescales so that candidate knows, right, okay, I'm going for interview on this day. They intend to make a decision and whether I go to the next stage on this date and so on. And then at least they can plan that. And what that also does is avoid the ghosting that we hear about, where candidates are very excited, come for first interview, but actually you just want to see another manager in that process for a second opinion. And that's taken a while because that manager's been on holiday. And then when you go back to the candidate, like, no, they're gone. They've disappeared. never to be seen again. So keep that communication up, and it's also part of that employer branding that I spoke about earlier, is understanding the communication. And if it's like this to start with, then it's likely that it'll continue when they do join your organisation. And plan for a follow-up. Make sure that you are talking to the candidates, even those that have not been successful this time. Imagine that they might have just been 1 point out on that evaluation criteria. You might want to employ them again in the future. Keep talking to them. Ask them if it's okay that you keep talking to them and that you can keep their details on file. So by following all of these steps, you can create an efficient and effective interview and selection process. This will help identify the best candidates for your company, and that's what we want. So I thought I'd give you a quick overview, especially for people who don't already employ people. It's important to know that if you've made that job offer, somebody's going to come and join your company. They must have a contract of employment or a statement of particulars on day one of employment, if not before. So it's not okay further down the line. It used to be 8 weeks. Employees used to have about 8 weeks, but this came in 2020. So it's not a new law, but it's make sure that you've got that paperwork in place. They're always a protection for both you and the employee, so you all know exactly where you stand when it comes to your contract of employment. Staff handbook, it's not a legal requirement, but it's a blooming good job to have one. It's your guide to how to and to how not for employees. And it also gives you those hard stops on all the policies that you should have in place as employers. The only policies actually that is a legal requirement to have is a discipline and a grievance policy. So at the very least, make sure that you have those, and also get your GDPR sorted out as well. So health and safety policy, if you've got 5 employees or more, you should have a written health and safety policy. If you don't, I'm sure there are some health and safety experts in the room which will be able to help you out on that. Check their right to work in the UK. This is a legal requirement of employers to make sure that the people that you have got working in your organisation have the legal right to do so. And that's quite crucial as well. I remember I once had a visit from a very Jobsworth Home Office person when I was employed, and because my name was on the policy, it would be me that would get the fine. And he was very happy to tell me about that as well. So don't fall foul, just check it. If you need to know how to check it, by the way, I can talk about that. We don't need to get into the detail now. You will need employer's liability insurance. And also, again, if you are employing somebody for the first time, trigger happy, you'll need to tell HMRC and register for a PAYE scheme. And that's the framework of paying people. Set up a compliant pension plan and understand yours and your employees' obligations. With that, there's now auto-enrolment, and you have to auto-enroll your employee and then they can opt out. Can't be the other way around. So just be mindful of that as well to make sure you've got that covered. So this is a really, really critical point. And I can remember an old CEO that I used to work with. He wasn't old, it was just back in the day. And he always said that when employees are joining you for the first time, they're on a journey, they're going up a cliff. And the point is to keep them at the top of that cliff where they're engaged, they're motivated, and you want them to do the best job. Once they get to the peak and they're not, they'll just fall down the other side. And so that's why it's a crucial point to have a good structured onboarding plan in place. Make sure that if you are a larger organisation, that employee is subjected and meet the department heads. You know, they get a good walk around if it's in an office or factory environment, and they meet all the people. Make sure they know where the tea and coffee is. Make sure they know where the toilets are. Make sure they know where the fire exits are. But then more specifically, you should have a plan and key objectives set for the role itself. So what do you expect them to achieve in the first week, in the first month, in the first 6 months? Allow them to see what support you're going to give them to help them get to there. Because yeah, of course, they're coming in with all the right skills that we've already planned for, but you need to be able to impart your company knowledge, your company ethos, and all the things that go along so they can really, really get to grips with it all and start doing a good job for you. So set the initial goals, the objectives, be there to support and mentor them. And if you have the opportunity, have a buddy system in place so they've got someone else that's not their manager that they can go into. So you did tell me, but I don't know where to go and I've forgotten. And sometimes that's just really, really helpful as well. So all the time, feedback and improvement. And that's not them, that's you as an employer. You know, make sure you're feeding back to them, making sure that they know that they're on the right progression, making sure that they've got everything they need and all the tools and everything else to do their job. And ask them for their feedback. Tell them, let them tell you what you could do better, if you could improve the recruitment process, if you could improve the onboarding process, and learn from that. So a well-structured onboarding process not only helps new employees settle more quickly, but also enhances job satisfaction, retention, and ultimately contributing to the overall success of the company. Thank you for listening.